2018 was a shit show.
So would you say your life now is better or worse or the same?
It's better. No, for sure. It's a lot better, but it's not better than what it used to be. Maybe 2 years ago, around this time, I was the best I had ever been. It was fantastic. I had all the friends that I could ask for. I was going to events. I was doing everything I could. I was getting paid for ads. Vine was still going on, so I was getting recognized left and right at least like twice a week. I just kind of felt on top of the world, and I felt comfortable, especially in my job that I had, because I loved it. Like, they were like my family. So everything is shifting right now, and I feel that. So I think that's why I'm kind of suppressing things a little bit, because I'm trying to find a normal, steady ground. If that makes any sense.
I've had some time the past few months where I've been kind of wondering, where do I want to be? Do I want to stay in London? At the moment, I want to be in London in a year's time. I'd like to at least be making my money, of course. Preferably, I'd like that to be for a production company of some sort, and then I could kind of hopefully work my way up the ladder.
What's like the dream job?
Well, the dream job for me would be, as it always has been since I've known you 10 years ago, screenwriter.
Nice.
But that one's always a problem with me. I have a very hard time coming up with the ideas, There's that initial seed of an idea that could grow into something. But I'm very good at kind of taking someone else's idea and making suggestions and coming up with things.
Yeah.
Given a few days.
So you need like a writing partner, maybe?
Yes, something like that, for sure. Or, of course, mad famous vlogger who gets tons of money to go places and try on shoes and whatever.
Yes.
That's what they do, right? They get to wear some shoes.
Yeah, that and camping trips to Mount Fuji.
I would say I am in essentially exactly the same place as I was a year ago. I've not gotten any worse, I've not lost anything, which is okay, but I haven't gained anything. I haven't done anything I wanted to, that I said I wanted to do last year. A lot of it has been mental health issues and having problems. There was a big period in about June, I don't even know if you know this, there was a big period in about June where I had to just go back home and stay with my parents for like 3.5 weeks because I was just having so much trouble with London. I came very, very close to asking if I didn't have to do this.
Wow.
I really did.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, are you happy you are doing it now?
I'm happy. One thing that I've realised recently is how much, what I guess people call intrusive thoughts, how much they kind of control me. It's been such a big thing. When people talk about depression, you always hear like, oh, I'll go back to so-and-so thing I did 10 years ago and I'll become embarrassed and humiliated all over again. That happens to me all the time, just all the time.
I would like to be working as an actor full-time. That would be my ideal. That would be my ideal for right now also, but it's not. But in a year's time, I'd really like to be actually working, pretty constantly in acting, maybe doing some editing still, because I do enjoy it, and still making YouTube content probably. And yeah, very just like focused on my career at the moment, trying to think about that. So I don't know. I'll probably still be living in London. Hopefully in the same flat, because I really would like to not move again. I've moved way too many times in my life. And yeah, hopefully more acting, because that's my dream. So in the past year, I have done some things, which is good because I usually don't do things. I just stay in my house and edit all day, every day. I was in a show near the end of last year, which was my first stage show in just over 2 years, and my first musical in 6 years. And it was great. I had an amazing time. I met some amazing people. And it wasn't paid, it wasn't a professional show, it was community theatre, but I gained so much from it, and I'm so glad I did it. I'm so glad I did it. And now I'm in another show. Yay! I'm currently rehearsing for another show, and was named characters. I was a main character in that other show, and I'm a named character in this show. I'm also stage combat captain for this show, which is really cool, because I like to pretend to punch people and die. I'm rehearsing for that now, and the show is at the very beginning of April this year, 2019. I'm not currently able to put as much time into it as I would like to, in terms of, applying for acting jobs and just focusing on it, you know, building my website, building my CV, etc., etc. I haven't been putting as much time into that as I should be, but I'm going to try and remedy that. But the reason I haven't had the time to do that enough is because my career as an editor and post-production manager, producer person is going really well.
That's a really hard one. I think it's really weird, because obviously, and again, like thinking about it in these kind of three like strands, I don't know if I'm going to be on the boat still, but I also don't know if I'm still going to own the boat, because I keep having this like back and forth with myself being like, shall I leave it, shall I not leave it? And I keep, whenever I get stressed out, I keep thinking like, the boat is the problem. Yeah, and then with the creative stuff, I think that's probably where I spend most of my time, like thinking about the future, because I kind of, everything else to me is kind of like extraneous. It doesn't really matter. Like, I think we'd have another show, like ready to go, and I feel like Sydney, who is the creative outreach kind of gal at Orange Skies, my theatre company, she will have like properly bedded in some of her stuff. So I feel like maybe like the dream at this point next year, I feel like I might be starting to think, hey, I could take a part-time job and then rely on Orange Skies for a little bit of income. And that would be amazing. That would be the dream, but I don't know if that's really gonna like be what actually happens.
2018 was a shit show. Pretty much
Okay.
the whole year. It was the darkest timeline. This time last year was living on the boat and had like decided to make the boat work. Mistake, couldn't make the boat work. 0% chance of the boat working. Interestingly enough, I remember last year when I talked about the things that were like the pillars of my life, the big one that I missed out was my then current boyfriend, and that was probably because I hadn't realised how much that was encroaching on my life in a negative way. Really struggling on the boat with just general living, and everything with the ex-boyfriend was kind of starting to go tits up. I was trying to micromanage his mental health and also my own, and I couldn't. And it started to get all very, very difficult. Managed to sell the boat. That took way too long. End up losing a lot of money on the boat. Such is life. Moved in with my mum's friend Anne, who ended up being like my saving grace. She lives with her daughter, who is 10 now, and I used to babysit for her when, so Anne let me live there for free because I'd babysit and look after her. My job completely fucked me over. That was also a shit show start to finish. Restructured the company, made me really go for my job again. Didn't tell me when the applications were going to open until my boss told me to tweet about it. That was the worst. So that was just a very hectic, emotional time. Meanwhile, trying to pull the show together that you were doing the music for, and that was just like obstacle after obstacle after obstacle.
But we did it.
We did do it, and it was great. We got some good reviews. To be fair, actually, when it got to August, like up the whole rest of the year was just like how much more shit can happen to me, because I was just like, no more shit can possibly happen. And then August was when it started to turn around, and when we started to do the show and people liked it, and we were finally in Edinburgh and it felt like the Holy Grail, and I was free of the ex-boyfriend who was making me sad, I was free of the boat that was making me sad, I was free of the job that was making me sad, and then that was the turning point, I think, for things to start to get much better, which was really nice.
In the coming year, I'd probably just like to be able to say I'm doing at least one voiceover a week, maybe doing one presenting job a month, and maybe just being able to churn out some videos that aren't just a let's play, maybe being able to finally make a comedy sketch that I've been wanting to make, or work with someone else on a comedy sketch. So where I want to be, I just want to be making something every week that's to do with what I want to do, really. I think in the last year, I've been wanting to be more focused on what I want to do and not having to just do what society kind of expects of me, which I know is a kind of cliche in a way, but I don't like working for companies where I don't respect the people who I'm working for or the work that I'm doing. And it got to a point where I realized enough's enough, and it's time for me to focus on what I want to do and what I think is the best. Even if it might not be, I'm still pursuing my own goal, and that for me was an important thing to have to do. So I got out of the whole bubble of, you know, you get your career, you build through that career. You earn a bit more money, you find a family, you settle down, blah, 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 and then eventually you die. I didn't want to do that. So I guess in the last year, I've managed to take control of my life a little bit more. The year that just passed has been quite tough for me for creativity. I've turned things down, I've accepted some other things, maybe with the idea of it pushing my boundaries and maybe backing out because I maybe am not invested in it. I like the idea of permanence, but I'm also very fickle. I get very bored and my brain's quite snapshotty, so I'll think that I'm really engaged in an idea and I'll focus on it, and then within a week I'm bored again and I have to get up and try something else. And that's why freelancing works so well, because I have the world at my disposal. But if I go into another company, it's you've got to meet these arbitrary goals, or you have to report to this person who may be less experienced than you. And I can't deal with that. I can't handle someone who doesn't know what they're talking about telling me how to do my job. And I barely know what I'm talking about, but at least I can be an asshole to myself, you know? I wanted to get more voiceover work and presenting work last year because those are the things that I've always found that I love doing. I get a lot of energy from being on stage, whether it's a small thing like Comic-Con and doing a panel, or even being an MC at a friend's wedding. I get off on that. I like being in the spotlight, even though that sounds really self-involved, but it's the case. I like doing those kind of things, and I've been doing a lot more voiceover stuff. I've actually recently become a sort of a video games correspondent for various BBC radios, which is sort of the dream in a way, isn't it? Being asked to talk about something that you love about because you're considered knowledgeable, that to me is really, really cool. So yes, I have probably gained a bit more experience in the fields that I wanted to over the last year, which can't complain.
Everybody say hi to Whitney. Wait, where's the focus?
It is me. It is I.
How's your year? Tell me some good news. Let me know.
All right.
Let me know that you had such a great 2018. That everything you want.
Because of my depressing video. I didn't realize how depressive I was, or not depressed I was until I watched it. I was like, oh shit.
I just want to know. I want to know that you had a great year to offset. I need some hope in this video, some happiness.
You want me to lie to you? I'm just kidding. 2018, I mean, let's just minus the fact that, my relationship with men at that time was kind of a joke. Like, that doesn't matter to me because that wasn't my goal that year. My goal last year was to kind of rediscover myself, and that's exactly what I did. And I was very happy about it. I think, though, what really helped me through the most was like seeing you and Lobster and Chris and Gabby and Leslie. Of course, I love seeing her face, but I just finally I did kind of isolate myself in a way, but I also found myself during that.
Yeah. And
I feel just emotionally a lot better and a lot more stable. So, I mean, there is hope, like once all that shit happens. That's always been my theory, though. Like, whenever something bad happens, there's always something good to follow after, and vice versa. It's just the way of life, it's continuously bad and good. But I love it because it's always, that always means something new is about to happen. I did find something today that I thought was insane and kind of like fate. I was going through my old Vines, more so not trying to be depressed with the fact that Vine is done, but just trying to relive some memories that I truly enjoyed and remembered why I liked being a part of that community. I saw the very first collab with me, Leslie, and Ashley, and not physically together. Like, this is before, pre-Dear Ears. This is like when we first had even seen each other on the internet.
Yeah.
I saw Ashley do a collab with Leslie, and I decided, I was like, oh, I can totally harmonize with her, and I did. And in that specific video, I am wearing a deer tank top. I had no idea until today. I finally just really paid attention to the video, and I was like, is that a deer shirt I'm wearing? Because I don't have any fucking deer shirts anymore.
That's very cool.
Oh my God. It never struck me that hard where I was like, this was destiny.